Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namaste Center. It's 2013 and the second Sunday of this great new year, and it's wonderful to be here with all of you today, both live and on the web. So I guess I'm going to start off telling a little bit about our adventures to Florida. It's been since I've seen most of you last. Many of you came to our Burning Bowl ceremony, which was really beautiful. It was so wonderful. We had the pleasure of spending the first part of the evening in the Gallery International in Flat Rock at Singleton Center. Then we had a big fire pit out in the parking lot, and we burnt our past, everything we chose to release, and we wrote our letters to God, and you'll be receiving those in the mail this December. So you'll look forward to that and see everything that's manifested in this year. And it is fascinating and amazing to see what happens, because we set that intention, we surrender it to Spirit, and then to just watch it unfold is really remarkable. And a lot of times we forget and go, oh my God, I forgot I wrote that, and look, it happened. So it's very cool. So we had that great opportunity to be together, and then we celebrated downstairs in Just Vino a little bit, and got home early. I think everybody got home early and relatively sober, so that was a good thing. And New Year's Day, we were all ready to pack the RV up and head to Florida, and if you don't remember, New Year's Day was a deluge of rain, so we decided our first maiden voyage in the RV, the Sunstar. We've named her Sunstar. That's the type she is. We're real original. What should we name her? Sunstar's already on there. Okay, so there you go. So Sunstar, and so I said, I'm not driving this thing first time in this rain. So we had an extra day to prepare and pack, and the next morning, we got off to a great start. We pulled that, some of you have seen it, it's big, 35 feet, it's big. And I'm, the one driving it. Ellen is, of course, a master driver too, but I was a designated driver. And we drove, of course, coming down, those of you that know where we live, Kenya, that it's like here and those hills. We got it down to the bottom. Ellen followed me. And then the big dilemma, it's not so hard to drive in itself, but the tow package, which, these guys, Camping World, oh, it's so easy, and just in case, we're going to sell you the best one because it's the easiest to do. And it's also twice as much as the rest. We're like, okay, just make it easy. It's not easy. And so then it's heavy, so we're out there, and it's still not that great of a morning, and we're having to lift this thing and pull Ellen's car up directly behind it, and we're just yelling at each other because it's stressful. It's very stressful. And she's like, it's not right. It's not right. And we're calling this poor guy at Camping World every 5 minutes. Steve, what about this? Now he said, okay, now have total confidence and faith in you girls. Be able to do this. Get ready. And so we got it going, and then the last thing is we're ready to pull out. Ellen goes, it's not even. It's not even. And I said, no, it'll happen when we pull out. I said, I promise. It'll stretch out. And she's like, you call Steve. He goes, yes, ma'am, that will pull out when you pull out. And sure enough, it did. And of course, it's when you're driving it, it's 50 feet. It's intense. And so we decided 700 miles. We had a great plan, and the Course in Miracles, what's it say? A healed mind doesn't plan. So we're already not following Spirit. And then number 2, make plans, God laughs. So, but our plan was to drive, to make 2 night stops. So we stopped the first night in Georgia, Darien, Georgia, at a nice little campsite, and then the second night our plan was to stop in Fort Pierce, which was only about 50 miles from the campsite or the RV site in Juno Beach. So we got this great little site. We unhooked the car. We decided that I didn't want to pull into the Palm Beach traffic with this big thing towing behind me, so we unhooked everything in the morning, and Ellen was going to follow me down, and Ellen proceeds to bang her head on the side of the RV. She had it was the slide out was out, and she's like seeing stars. She goes, I can't drive. And so we had to leave her car there. The Sunstar attacked her. And so we had, And before that, actually, the night before, 11 o'clock at night, our phone rings, and it's the realtor who we've leased this spot from in Juno Beach, and he says, where are you guys? And we said, we're in Fort Pierce. And he said, can you stay there 5 more days? And he said, we don't have electric on your site. And I said, no, we can't. And you know, the interesting thing was, and this was a lot of opportunities for forgiveness, he never said, I'm sorry, how can I make this right? It was just like, well, there's nothing I can do. I said, well, you could have checked it. We were already 4 days late. I said, you know, and he's like, oh yeah, so you're a better realtor than I am. Okay, I got it. So I was like, okay. So we love you, Leo. It was a great opportunity for forgiveness. Well, I posted a little something on Facebook. I thought it was, you know, choosing to forgive. I wasn't attacking. And one of my friends, Brian, he's such a smart aleck from Florida, he just couldn't resist, you know, putting in a little message like, you know, there's nothing to forgive. And, you know, he was like, you know, little coarse jabs at me. I'm like, okay, you're right, you're right. So anyway, we get down there and we move in, and then I go to hook up the plumbing, which is always a pleasure. You know, that's, I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's, you know, it's, you grab that hose and then you hook it in, and thank you God there was one miracle that I didn't release the black water, because that would have been, you know, there's black and there's gray, and the black is black. And so I released the gray water, which is the shower and the sink. And it doesn't go down, it just flashes. I'm soaking wet. And I'm like, so we got half electricity. It's Friday morning, or Friday afternoon. We got barely any electricity. We got no place to put our water and sewage. And I called Leo again and said, Leo, we don't have it. He goes, well, you know, I'm doing the best I can. Okay. So anyway, Monday, we finally got everything somewhat resolved. The cable guys came and said, oh, your cable's not working. It's not our problem. It's clear on us. So I was like, you know, one thing after another. So everyone said, did you have a good relaxing time? So it was fun. Yes, we got to spend time with some good friends, Ellen's family, and some good friends. Saw them a bit, and I taught a course at Unity. Course in Miracles at the Unity Church there in Jupiter, Florida, or Palm Beach Gardens, and it was really great to see. It was amazing, all these people walking in that I hadn't seen in years, and so that was really a fun thing. It was a great event, and so that was probably the highlight for me, was to see all these people. That and finally having sewage to be able to dump. Finally having it drained and dump the black water was probably the highlight, but then the second highlight was seeing everybody in Unity. But anyway, it was great. We packed up, we drove up Friday, one day. It is 700 miles in one day. It's a long drive, but got here Friday, and yesterday just got things settled in, and here we are today. So it's great. And you know, I laugh about it, but you know, these things are, you know, I don't think life ever stops giving us opportunities to forgive, to choose peace. I don't care how enlightened we may think we are. There's always something that continues to come and just, you know, smack us in the side of the face. And, you know, then again, of course, living in small quarters, it's as much as you enjoy someone's company or care for somebody, it's different. You have nowhere to escape. So it's a lot different. And so it's a test on your relationships too. So this is a great learning experience in the Sunstar, and so it is good. And what's that? Yeah, to be glad to help. That's right. There you go. We'll just all pile in. That's what you do. You pile in really close quarters with, you know, that might be a part you implement into your relationship counseling here. Just you got to move into an RV for 2 weeks. That's right. Yeah, it's like being handcuffed together, and there you go. So that's it. So anyway, but it is funny looking back at it, and all in all, it was wonderful. And even the times that didn't seem wonderful, they were once we chose to see it differently. So one thing that I'm real excited about is this book. Marianne Williamson, I think, she's written a number of books, many of which have, the first one, I think, A Return to Love, is one of the best books written about A Course in Miracles and spirituality that I've read ever. It's a great book, and she's so good at presenting, here she is. A Course in Miracles for many seems so complex in its teachings, and not a book that you just pick up and a friendly read. It's just not an easy read. But her book, A Return to Love, was such a very easy way to sort of step into the waters of the Course. And I love that book. And she's written a number of books since then, which A Woman's Worth, I thought that was a wonderful book. My other favorite was Illuminata, The Healing of America. She's written some terrific books. And this one, I think, is so perfect. It's called The Law of Divine Compensation. And it's so appropriate for the times, because so many people I talk to right now are going through major challenges. And most of which are work and money. And what's this book say? It's The Law of Divine Compensation on Work, Money, and Miracles. And what she's done in this book has offered just a very direct, easy to read, easy to understand, easy to apply principles to how we can shift all that. Because it's as if all the things we're clinging to in the past, I was speaking to someone earlier here today, and it was, and she's obviously challenged in a situation, and well, it used to work so much better in Florida, or this or that, and I'm only using that as an example because I think we could all relate to this in some way. Well, it used to work, and now it's not. And I think that that's what many of us are experiencing. It just doesn't, our old ways are not meant to work anymore. And we've asked for this awakening. We've moved forward in our consciousness. I really believe we're waking up. And I do believe that everything we're clinging to that is not serving our awakening is being challenged. And it's not a bad thing unless we choose to perceive it as negative, or we're afraid to let go of what we think should work. But her whole idea here is releasing the past and opening up to really the God mind within all of us. Because
it's full of wisdom.
It is full of wisdom. It's wonderful. It's terrific. And I want to read, just for example, Marianne writes the best prayers of anybody. And in the inside jacket here, she says, "Dear God, I surrender to you who I am, what I have, and what I do. May my life and talents be used in whatever serves you best. I surrender to you my failures and any pain still in my heart. I surrender to you my success and the hopes that they contain. May the light of your love shine deep within my heart and extend through me to bless the world." And I just think what a prayer to start the day with every day, and to remind us. And a couple of things I want to address here is, number one, I surrender to you who I am and what I do. I believe that where we're moving now in our spiritual evolution is we must surrender, because the old isn't working. And it's kind of like, okay, I let go, let God. I'm willing to release. My old way obviously is not working. And if we just pray that sincerely, that we surrender who we are and what we do to Spirit, then we're opening ourselves up to a whole new world, which is far greater than the world that we're suffering in, or seem to be suffering in. And it says, I surrender to you my failures and any pain still in my heart. And I surrender to you my success. So what I think that is required of us for this awakening, for this shift, this new world that we're creating, is let go of the past and be willing to open up to the new, whatever that is. And if we're willing to do that, I believe that we'll be abundantly blessed in all ways. You know, she talks a lot about our sense of self, who we are really. And the pain, all of our pain that we experience in the world is our identity with a false sense of self, an ego, our ego. And our self-identity, rather than identifying with our true nature, which is love, only love, eternal love, spirit of joy, we identify with external things, usually money, jobs, relationships, etc. Those things, and if those things are working, then, oh, I can be happy. Oh, if they're not working, I'm not happy. And so we play that game. But if we identify with our true self, our self-identity becomes that knowing that we are only love, and that everything that I attract comes from that. The biggest obstacle between us and good is that mind, or that tape that plays over and over all the negativity and the challenges that seem to be happening in our life, rather than focusing on, you know, I'm changeless, formless, and eternal, and no matter what's happening in my life, I can still be at peace. And then what happens, the real beauty is, then we attract really good, cool stuff. Now, is that what the Course in Miracles teaches us? I want to make this clear because I don't want to misrepresent the Course. And I think it can be very compatible, what she's talking about. Number one, false sense of self. Yes, the Course says that all of our pain comes from identifying with the illusion rather than the reality, the true nature of who we are, this eternal spirit. So that is very much in alignment with what Marianne says in this book. It says also, she says, above all else, choose love first in every encounter. She uses a great example in the book of, she had made a big $10,000 business mistake. So it wasn't really a mistake, but she spent $10,000 in it. She was expecting a big return, and there was none. And this was early in her career, and she shifted it. She chose to stay in her heart, stay in love. She didn't hold on to it. Her father said, you got to shake it off, let it go, move on. And she took that advice, and she continued to follow the principles of the Course and live from love and harmony and peace, and to give wholeheartedly from that perspective. And rather than to go in and say, this doesn't work, look, I lost $10,000, I was doing the right thing, and so on and so on, and she would have created more, and the universe would have said, you're right, Marianne, it didn't work. But she chose to stay in that spirit of service and putting love first. Well, guess what happened after that? She wrote the book, A Return to Love. It's sold over the years millions of copies. Oprah, of course, endorsed it on her show, and then, the rest is history. Marianne became an icon. Well, she attributes that success, it was kind of like what Abraham talks about, the escrow. We think that this is going to be immediate, and it would be great if every time I do something good came back, but that's not always the case. But if we just continue to live from love and in that faith and confidence that we're doing the right thing, then it's as if we're accumulating all this escrow, and we don't know where our good is gonna come from. And to surrender that to God, let that be God's business, not our business. And when that's the case, it's amazing what miracles can happen. So what do we do here? Is the Course in Miracles a course in manifesting? No, it's not. Is this book about manifesting more love and money and miracles in your life? Yeah, it is. And where do those two meet? Well, they do in the sense that, as I mentioned, love first, sense of self, surrender to God, understanding that this is not our home, that our home abides in heaven, which is within us, And if we can focus on that, everything comes from that aspect. But also, I believe, there's some people who are purist in A Course in Miracles who would say, well, this has nothing to do with the Course in Miracles. The Course doesn't tell us to go out and try to attract better relationships and more money and all this into our life. Well, that might be the case, but I figure as long as my 30 years in the Course, I figure as long as I'm in this dream, I might as well make it a good one. And, and I might as well be comfortable and have means and do what I love and have great friendships and relationships. I mean, it might as well be a great, happy dream. But never lose sight of that, knowing that regardless of what's going on, I can always choose peace. So the two meet in that, because I feel that the Course is not asking us to suffer or to deny this dream, but to transcend it. So while we're transcending it, the key is whatever I surrender to Spirit and whatever I choose to become, I always use that in the spirit of oneness and connectedness and awakening. So whatever my business is, then I'm using that to heal the separation. I'm using my money to heal the separation, to bring more awareness and awakening to people. So everything I am is used in that service and that belief. And if we come from that, I do believe that there is a meeting place there. So it's a very exciting book that I'm looking forward to sharing with all you guys on Monday nights at 7. So I hope you will join me. Now, one last thing she speaks about in here is faith and what our faith lies in. And that's a very strong point. We've always heard the faith, if we just had the faith of a mustard seed, which is like the tiniest particle practically on earth, if we just had that faith that we could literally move mountains. Well, she goes on to say that the reason we don't experience joy and peace and prosperity is because we have more faith in the illusion than we do in the truth. We have more faith in suffering than we do in joy. We have more faith in sickness than we do in health. And so if we put our faith first with Spirit, then, seek first the kingdom of God and everything comes from there. I believe that that's the premise of this book. So we're going to get together and really join minds and share ideas and dreams and goals and support each other in that. It's going to be, like similar to a mastermind group, never losing sight of, first cause, everything, change our thoughts, change our world. Everything stems first from our thoughts about it. So I really do look forward to sharing that with all of you guys. So I thought I would bring a course lesson into it, which is lesson 47. And lesson 47 is, God is the strength in which I trust. And the first sentence of this is so perfect. It says, if you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. Okay, so there you go. So if anyone's apprehensive, anxious, or fearful, you may be trusting in your own strength, and you have every reason to be, the Course says. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee it will be accomplished? Well, it's a lot of questions. Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? God is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and his protection. There are no exceptions because God has no exceptions. And the voice for which he speaks, which speaks for him, thinks as he does. And the lesson, the mantra that it really asks us to say this day, you know, the lessons in the course are daily practice. And what it is, it says here, you know, to take 4 or 5 minute practice periods affirming this statement. God is the strength in which I trust. So if we allow ourselves to just, if you are feeling anxious, apprehensive, or fearful, we're depending on our own strength, the strength of the ego to fix it. And as it says here, the ego can only, you know, the ego's caught up in just a little piece of the pie, where spirit, you know, can see the big picture. God can see the big picture. So God, if we go back to this statement, God is the strength in which I trust, then that, I promise, that'll bring instant calm. What thought are we entertaining? Oh my gosh, I'm out of money, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that. Or if as soon as that thought enters in that's fearful or makes us anxious, then God is the strength in which I trust. And I guarantee that shift will happen. And there's the miracle, that shift from fear to love. And it goes on to say, now try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy, for otherwise you would believe you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God in you is successful in all things. So there again, it goes back to, if we trust in our own strength, we have every reason to be fearful. And if we trust in the power of God, we have every reason to be joyful and happy. The recognition of our own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but hardly a sufficient one in giving you the confidence in which you need and to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect in all circumstances. So it says to go ahead, repeat the lesson often throughout the day. God is the strength in which I trust. And so if we get ourselves, you know, the whole premise of the course is to train us to think and see and experience the world differently, and to recognize when these old patterns and beliefs come sneaking in, that we do have a choice to respond it differently. So if you just take today and remember, whenever you're feeling anxious or afraid, just step back, take a breath, and say, God is the strength in which I trust. And allow yourself to breathe that in. Close your eyes, take a few minutes, and really be with that thought. And all the fear will transform into love. So I hope you all join me, if not for the course, which I hope you do starting tomorrow. It's going to be, we're going to move mountains, because we're going to strengthen our faith and our confidence in trusting God and really dig deep. And we're going to share ideas and support each other. So I do hope you'll join us. And if you're not able to join us, buy the book. It's a great book. Read it. It's a fantastic read. But above all, remember, God is the strength in which I trust. And all is well, and so it is. Namaste. Namaste.